Broadcasting live from the Temple of Malady on the plane of Theros, this is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. I'm Graham. Kathleen is here.
Yep.
And Alex is here.
Mostly.
All parts of Alex are here. The rest of him is asleep. As I say, welcome. We're going to be talking, first of all, of course, we're going to crack a pack like usual. Kathleen's going to cough a little bit. And then we're going to, and I'm going to cough a little bit, excuse me. All right, so how's that? There we go. Now that we've all coughed.
Get wrecked.
Yeah.
Get junded.
We're going to chunt it out. Now that since we recorded the last episode, even though the full spoiler was out when the last episode aired, it wasn't when we recorded it. But now that the full spoiler is out, we can talk some more about some other interesting Journey Into Nyx cards. Kathleen can give us an update on James's Digit Cube, which is exciting. And we're going to talk a little bit about Alex's Cubelet again, because the reaction to that has been pretty fantastic. But who among you wants to roll the D10? All right. Alex said Awana first.
One time, no whammies.
All right. 2.
It's not Homelands.
It's not Homelands. It is Visions.
Ooh.
Going very old school with
Get
Visions.
that Vamp Tutor up in there.
This was like right when I stopped playing.
This set has some okay cards in it.
When did Visions come out?
1996.
Wow.
1990.
That pack of Magic cards is almost 20 years old.
The final battle for Jamura has begun as the forces of the evil mage Kervek swarm the land.
No Kervek.
A small unit of elite warriors guided by messages hidden in their dreams and the knowledge that if they fail, Kervek wins, is on a mission to free their only hope, the wizard Mangara. Heed the visions and you too can help the liberation of Jamura. That is a terribly constructed sentence.
That is like just...
Where do you
breathe?
This is the sentence. A small unit of elite warriors, guided by messages hidden in their dreams and the knowledge that if they fail, Kervek wins,
Whoa.
is on a mission to free their only hope. The wizard Megara.
Whoa, that needs to be like 3 separate sentences.
And then, yeah. Also sick top decks.
There's some really cool art in Mirage and Visions. And
a lot of the older sets, a lot of the sets in Magic have quite good art.
Because it was Mirage and Visions
I get
and
the cards.
Weatherlight. I'm doing it. All right. Knight of Valor. No, I think it was Weatherlight, because the actual Weatherlight block didn't have the Weatherlight expansion in it.
This guy has flanking.
Knight of Valor. Yeah, he's a 2/2 for 2 and white with flanking. And for 1 and a white, each creature without flanking, blocking Knight of Valor gets -1/-1 till end of turn.
Oh, so you guys super flanking.
Only once each turn. So, flanking, not actually that confusing of an ability. The reminder text here reads, whenever a creature without flanking is assigned to block this creature, the blocking creature gets -1/-1 till end of turn.
Pretty good.
Because this guy's better at the maneuvers.
Yeah, he's coming around from the side, so you're surprised.
Yeah, but if the defending creature has flanking too, then they're like, haha, I knew you were there, and now there's no difference.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you can't chump this guy with, like, an X1.
No, this guy can kill
any X1.
Well, anyone with flanking can kill an X1. This guy can kill an X2.
Yeah,
with
his
activated
super
ability.
Flanking.
Yeah, he's got ultra flanking. That seems sweet. Wicked Reward. I remember that art. 1 and a black. An instant. Sacrifice a creature. Target creature gets +4/+2 until end of turn.
It could be good in a token deck.
Could be alright.
Yeah.
Seems kind of weird.
That is an entirely too high price for a combat
Actually,
trick.
you know where this is fantastic?
No.
It's not bad. It'd be good in my Una deck.
Yeah.
All them fairies.
They could
Just smash for 5.
like
sack 1 fairy to a different fairy, and then the 1 fairy then is now a 5/3.
Or just sack it to Una if she's
that's true.
If she's unblocked and you get in for 9. Commander damage.
Oh, here we go. The Sukata Lancer. He's a 2/2 for 2. No, sorry, he's a 2/2 for 2 and a red. Pardon me, a 2/2 for 3 with flanking, and Sukata Lancer is unaffected by summoning sickness, or as they call it now, haste. Yes.
That actually seems pretty good.
Yeah, 2/2 haste for 3 with flanking.
It's like a Grey Ogre with 2 abilities that are not bad.
Yeah.
Well,
So far, I give the Artless block an A+.
Yeah. Well, don't hold your breath. Feral Instinct. 1 and a green. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. That's it. That seems fine.
Snore.
But the rhino looks a little derpy.
Ooh, is this
That's a derpier rhino than I'm used to seeing.
Man,
That's you-know-who art, isn't it?
But, like, I would just like to point out the art on Wicked Reward is really good.
oh, it is who
Yeah.
That's who you were talking about. Knight of the Mists. It's another 2/2 for 3. It's a
Another
2/2.
creature with flanking. Wait,
Yeah.
did we get the entire cycle of these guys?
It looks like it. This is a 2/2 for 2 and a blue with flanking. When Knight of the Mists comes into play, pay blue or bury target knight.
Huh?
That's got to be that you control, right?
All right, so the oracle on that one.
Yeah, please.
When Knight of the Mist enters the battlefield, you may pay blue. If you don't, destroy target knight and it can't be regenerated.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
no, wait.
So what that means is that if you
You
don't,
get to kill your opponent's knight.
If your opponent
but
has
if your
a
opponent
knight.
has
Yeah.
no knights and you have no other knights, then this guy will die.
So you know what
Unless
it's
you
like?
pay.
It's
Okay.
like, you know how if you play Flame Tongue Kavu onto an empty board, it has to shoot itself?
Right.
It's like that, only you can turn it off.
Yeah. All right.
So
That's
also really out of flavor for blue.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
super weird.
Like, destroyed can't be regenerated?
Now you were saying who art because this is the guy that later turned out to be like
a white
supremacist.
His
Yeah.
artwork is so pretty.
It
though.
is, but they don't.
Hey!
They haven't used him in years for obvious reasons.
It's a river boa.
Oh, Riverboa.
Oh, Riverboa. I have a story about Riverboa.
Do
When we
you?
start talking about the cube.
Awesome. So Riverboa is a 2/1 with Island Walk for 1 and a green, and
has
for a single
regenerate.
green you can regenerate him.
Surprisingly powerful.
What's Riverboa been reprinted in? Because he's been around in
Ravnica, I think?
he's in other sets.
He has been in Zendikar,
Zendikar.
Ah, yes.
and he was in various dual decks,
Right.
and also 6th edition.
Nice.
But Zendikar was the most recent one.
Remedy. 1 and a white for an instant. Prevent up to 5 damage total to any number of creatures and or players.
Boo.
Well, any number of creatures.
Do you get to split up how it's prevented?
Yeah.
Okay.
5 damage total to any number of creatures. So,
It's like, that's maybe an okay combat trick. It's like you screw up their math.
if you prevent like 1 damage to a couple creatures, you could let your guys survive.
Yeah.
That could it's pretty bad, but it could be okay. Betrayal.
Ah!
A single blue for a creature enchantment. Play only on a creature an opponent controls. If enchanted creature becomes tapped, draw a card.
Okay.
Interesting flavor
Like
text.
you turn your opponent's creature into a source of card advantage.
Sometimes a burden can be borne only on the shoulders of a willing enemy. Suk Ata aphorism.
I mean, that's the kind of thing you put on their big flyer.
I guess, just to disincentivize them from attacking. So
Yeah.
maybe they don't care.
Well, they're still getting in. It's just like, I'm going to rip a card every time you...
Okay, well,
Block
it's
me.
it's like to fast forward to the new set. It's like that demon that's a 5/5 flyer for 2 and a black, but your opponent draws a card at the beginning of your upkeep. I don't care. I'm still attacking him, right? I'm still going to cast that card. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you
This
seen
is
the
not
guy?
going to disincentivize anyone if they've got a beater.
Let me just quickly find out what that guy's called. Remind myself. He's big and fat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the demon of feasts or something.
There he is, Master of the Feast.
That was
Oh,
it.
yeah.
We won't have this up on screen. This is coming from Journey to Nyx. Well, yeah, one black for a 5/5 flyer. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent draws a card.
So, like, I don't know. Like, I think we were talking about this guy at YJ today, and we're not sure if he's a trap or not.
I would play that. You still have
It's
a
like, he
5/5 on
domes
turn
real
3,
hard.
but they get card
He is
advantage.
ripping them a lot of cards. So, well, I don't know.
We'll see.
He might be really, really good.
Oh, hey, back in.
Or actually, sorry, one thing with Betrayal.
Mhm.
There's a interesting. So they can never enchant a creature opponent controls.
Right.
Is actually the oracle for the card text rather than like play only on a creature opponent
Right.
controls. And what that means is the ruling on that is if it ever enchants a creature that is not controlled by an opponent of
Like if you take control of the creature,
Yeah.
it falls off.
Then as a state-based action, it goes into
Oh, interesting. Because
So you
I
can't,
would infer from this that you can only target a creature you don't control at the beginning, but then it just stays there. But the Oracle is very different.
Yeah. The Oracle is
in
actually,
corner cases.
It is a enchant creature. So if you like Mark of Betrayal it or something, Mark of
falls off.
Mutiny. I don't know why you would do that, but
Anyway. Crypt Rats. 1/1 rat for 2 and a black.
Those guys are good.
For X, Crypt Rats deals X damage to each creature and player. Spend only black mana this way. So it's like Pestilence.
It's an MVP. Well, it is exactly Pestilence. It's
Yeah.
an MVP in some mono black control lists
Yeah, no
that I've
kidding.
seen. Just like wrath everything out.
Pretty awesome.
Rats.
Raging Gorilla.
Oh,
It's a 2/3 for 3, specifically 2 and a red.
oh my jimmies.
If a Raging Gorilla blocks or is blocked, it gets +2, -2 until end of turn.
Huh. That's awkward.
So it'll take something else, but it'll take something out, but it will die.
So,
It's like a kamikaze fighter.
Well, it's raging, right?
Just so angry.
Warthog. Warthog. 1 green for a 3/2 with Swamp Walk.
That seems fine.
Yeah, all right. Take it.
Some sort of angel.
Hey, Archangel. Actual Archangel. It's a 5/5 flyer for 5 white.
That's a
And
bomb.
Vigilance. In this era, absolutely.
Just like, oh, it's so big, I can't deal with this.
And it doesn't tap?
Yeah.
So good.
Archangel was reprinted most recently in Avacyn Restored.
Except we expect a little bit more for 7 mana nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, Archangel in Avacyn Restored was like, I mean, all right, sure. But back then, this was like, oh my god, a 5/5 flyer with attacking does not cause Archangel to tap because it hasn't been templated yet? That's amazing.
That's bonkers.
it was originally from Portal.
Oh, really? Wow. Stampeding Wildebeests.
Mm-hmm.
2 green for a 5/4 with Trample. During your upkeep, return a green creature you control to owner's hand. It's quite a downside.
Quite
But
a downside.
there might be a way to
value size that.
abuse this, like the Rumbling Baloth loop in M13.
Or like, what's that card from
I
Theros?
think it was Rumbling
The green
Baloth.
one that gains you life equal to your devotion to green?
Nylea's Disciple?
Yeah.
That'd be bonquares.
I mean, like, that's 4.
Especially because this has two
Exactly,
green
and
devotion on it.
And that has 2 green devotion.
Yeah, it's just like
Perfect.
any sort of
We've
Ender's
cracked the
Play
code.
guy.
We'll get the mono green beast devotion deck. It'll be great. I assume this has been oracled to just creature beast.
Creature Antelope Beast.
I forgot antelope was a subtype.
Wow.
Why is antelope a subtype?
Because why not?
All right.
The other small aspect is that because of the wording on this, it's not it bypasses Protected from Green and Shroud.
Oh
It
yeah.
doesn't target.
Return a creature, green creature you control. Weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, what you got?
Honorable Passage.
A dishonorable passage.
Which with weird looking art. The art looks like an Andrew Lloyd Webber play. 1 and a white for an instant. Prevent all damage to you or target creature from any one source. If that source is red, Honorable Passage deals to the source's controller an amount of damage equal to the amount of damage prevented.
Okay. That's like a red hoser, but it's also
sideboard at best.
yeah.
Yeah, at
Seems
best.
sub and the rare.
Summer Bloom. Holy crap. 1 and a green for a sorcery. You may play up to 3 additional lands this turn.
I heard you like ramping.
That seems
That's
good.
a rare.
I don't know if that was the
It
rare.
could be the pack is out
It
of
might
order.
be the Archangel is rare.
Who knows?
Well,
what's Paul have to say about this?
Sorry, I like the Oracle text is you may play up to 3 additional lands this turn. So that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
But what I do like about it is the ruling. The one ruling for this is this spell increases the number of lands you can play in a turn. The land cards are played as you would normally play lands. I don't know why we have to tell you this.
What happened to
So
make them say
you can't
that?
play them upside down or sideways.
Yeah, why does this have to be clarified?
Okay. So, in the interest of keeping things moving along, I'm going to jump right in and talk about Riverboa, which is in James's cube that he put together, his budget cube.
Is that your pick from this pack, by the way?
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm
Sure.
I'm probably taking Archangel.
Yeah. I'll probably
Yeah.
take
Well,
that.
that is what I was going to say because you have a story and
It involves this card.
I want to hear about this cube of James's.
So, if you've been listening to Tap Tap Concede, you will remember that James was putting together a budget cube, and I believe there was the guy who was putting together the cube list asked the people who were interested in what he was doing for a vote, and if he was going to spend $200, $400, $600 on a cube, the $200 option won out. So he put together a $200 cube. To keep costs down, it is a 6-person cube, but that is fine. Sometimes it's really fun to just draft with 6 people. So anyhow, James has never actually played this cube, but we decided to do a cube draft, so I took it to my Lady Planeswalker's night. And boy, do I have to say, if you are looking to get into a cube and you're looking to start a cube, go get that list because it will not cost you that much. Like, most of the cards in there are pretty cheap. I'm sure you can trade stuff that you already have.
I'm going to write myself a note right now to remember to put the link to James's cube in the YouTube description and forum post for this video.
It is
That is why I'm on my phone, because I've been messing that up recently. So
it is a fantastic cube. The cards are all of good power. The cards are all it's basically just like a Magic's greatest hits. There's not a lot of weird stuff in there. There's only a couple Planeswalkers in there. Planeswalkers that are in there are, of course, very powerful. I think it's like Gideon and a Koth are the ones that I saw. There might have been other ones.
Yeah, but those guys are cheap to buy.
Exactly. So, there's lots of just good stuff in there. Like, there's Bloodbraid Elf, and Condemn, and Sun Titan, and Frost Titan. And, it definitely is good, I think, for newer players, because it tended to skew to newer powerful cards. Like, there weren't a lot of, super old cards.
Well, because a lot of the older powerful cards are, Cha-Ching.
Yeah, they're, Cha-Ching, and they're... So, we didn't have that many judge rulings, although we did have a few, and it was all the same. Right? Because, we are a couple drinks in at that point.
I don't know how this works.
But it was super fun. And so in the first game, I fought a really good, red-black deck against my friend Emma. And her deck was fast, but my deck was, really, designed to go to the mid-range. I'll tell you what my deck is in a second. And, basically, I won the first game. She started out kicking my ass in the second game. And then I stabilized and then very slowly clawed my way back.
Nice.
And then I played against my friend Missy. And she had a River Boa, which has Island Walk, which is a big problem for me because, of course, I was playing a blue-white deck.
Uh-oh.
I also might need to have a blue draft intervention because I realized, the last 6 times I've drafted, I've been playing blue because I love it so much.
It's really good.
I love blue. Oh, love it. But anyhow, so I beat her in the first game, and then in the second game, she just trounced me. And in the third game, I had to spend, freaking 3 pieces of removal on this goddamn River Boa because she kept regenerating it, and I was, chump it, and, and, eventually I got it. And I was
won the moral victory for killing
exactly.
River Boa.
I was like, it's goddamn 2-1, but she was gonna put equipment on it and stuff, and I was like, no, it has to go. So that was a slog, but eventually I went out, and then I faced a blue-white mirror match.
Oh no!
In the last one, and we only actually ended up playing 1 game because it took us as long to play 1 game as it took everybody else to play 3. It went on forever. I ended up just wrapping the board at one point. She stole my Frost Titan with mind control.
No.
So I wrapped the board, even though that gave her steel Hellkite back from under my Fiend Hunter.
Whoa, this is a complex board state.
Yeah, and it took me 6 turns to kill Gideon, but she couldn't really do a lot with him because she was trying to protect him. Probably she shouldn't have tried to protect him that hard, but I'm not gonna tell someone how to play Magic, actively in the game. But whatever.
So what was your deck like?
So my deck, I was quite proud of this deck. Like I said, it's only splashing blue. My first pick was a Core Skyfisher.
Oh, yeah, she's sweet.
Because I was like, I'm sure I can abuse this, and I did because I cast it and returned a Muldrifter to my hand.
Oh!
I was like, oh,
the value!
I'm living the dream.
You so much value, you're allergic to it.
Yeah. So my 1-drops: Student of Warfare and Elite Vanguard.
So Elite Vanguard, he's just a 2/1.
He's a 2/1 for 1.
But the Student of Warfare is
only with a better creature type.
The level up.
Yeah. By the way, that blue-white mirror match was such a mirror. Caitlin went first. and played Savannah Lands, and then I went next and played an Elite
I'm
Vanguard.
like, well, this is awkward.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Trade question mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my 2 drops, I had Core Skyfisher, Saltari Monk, and Phantasmal Image, which, while it has drawbacks, and the Phantasmal Image was a bit of a non-bow with a card later in my deck, so that made it a little awkward, but also it was like, Mere Battlesphere, and it's like, I copy your Mere Battlesphere? It's like, oh, get out of here, right?
Copying enters play effects is always good with that card.
Yeah. And Missy was like, well, you can't target your Mere Battlesphere with those mirror you just got. I'm like, that doesn't matter. I'm just going to chump with them. In my 3-drop slot, I had a
Sorry, to clarify, does she mean the Mere Battlesphere's attacking ability?
Yeah.
That doesn't target the Battlesphere.
Oh.
No, well, I misplayed that.
Continue.
Because it's got the illusion subtype, right?
Yeah.
So if it's the target of a spell or ability, you have to sacrifice it.
Yeah, but that's its own. I don't believe it. Paul can correct me because he can read the card, but that doesn't target itself with that ability, does it?
It does not.
Sweet.
Whenever it attacks, you may tap X untapped mirror you control. If you do, Mere Battlesphere gets plus X plus 0 and deals X damage to defending type. So it does not target.
It doesn't even target the mirror.
It doesn't target the Battlesphere or the mirror.
Oh, neat.
Oh.
Anyway, continue.
Excellent. All right, so Serendib Efreet, which is a 3/4 flyer that does 1 damage to you in your upkeep, but get out of here because I don't care because it's 2 and a blue.
Yeah, that guy's really aggressive.
Oh, it's so good. Well, and obviously this is an aggressive deck.
Also, that 4 toughness, such a pain in the ass.
Oh, that is like that was.
For added value, James has the misprint Serendib Efreet with the green border.
That's so funny.
It's so good. And I had Kitchen Finks, which I was just playing as a double white, which is fine because I also had Fiend Hunter, which did fantastic work. Blade Splicer.
Ooh.
Oh, such value.
I
Blade
picked
Splicer
up the
was from,
Precursor Golem, but I thought that the drawback on Precursor Golem was too much.
Yeah.
To run both, but I was like, oh, because then I could have 4 3/3 first strike golems.
Yeah, so Precursor Golem makes two.
It's a 3/3 golem, and it comes in with 2 3/3 golems.
But any spell that targets any golem targets all golems.
Which cuts both ways, because one day you're going to live the dream, swing with them, and, like, groundswell him.
Yeah, but there's quite a bit of removal and stuff going around, so I was like, eh.
That's why
and then I had a Seagate Oracle, which was, I mean, not the most aggressive card, and I would have preferred something else, but actually the scrying, or the looking, basically the scrying and drawing,
he can see
really
what's on the,
good.
He can see what's on the cube.
What's on the cube today? Oh.
Yeah. He also fixed quite a few draws for me, where it's like, ooh, chip that to the bottom. I had a Bone Horde, which was so good.
Bone Horde is ready.
And you said you got the Bone. This is the fun thing about Cube. You got not the Bone Horde is like an insane card, but you got that last pick.
Yeah, that because like all right,
that seems wrong.
So it was in a pack, and there's always something better for me in the pack. Like there's a really good piece of removal, or just like I took the next card. I took a Hero of Bladehold above the Bone Horde because Hero of Bladehold is nuts, and obviously I'm building a low cost aggressive deck, so that's great, right? But then, so I was like, well, I'm not going to see that again. I'm going to be annoyed to face that, but whatever. I got to deal with creatures, and then it comes back. It's the last pick. And I actually said to the rest of the table, I'm like, this card is excellent. Do you guys know that? And it was so good. Like, especially after you wrap the board.
Oh, filthy.
Because then you just play any cheap creature. You hold a creature in your hand, and then you wrap. And then you put your Bone Horde back on, and you're like,
and it's like,
get out of here.
My creature is now a bajillion.
My creature is now a 16/16. Solemn Simulacrum.
Oh, the saddest robot.
Oh, sad robot is great. So, of course, the Hero of Bladehold is not a good combo with Phantasmal Image.
Why is that?
Because her ability is like each other creature you control.
Doesn't target.
It doesn't target?
No.
Nope.
I was holding that in my hand because I don't want to lose my Phantasmal Image. See, this is why I
need the judge calls there.
Need the judge calls.
Unless the ability explicitly says the word target. It doesn't target.
Well, anyhow.
That was something that was, I mean, that's relevant to mention because that was something that it took me a little while to figure out when we started playing Magic until I realized that the language of the Magic cards is like
extremely specific.
It's like a programming language, right? Like it's really important the words they put on there and why they template things that they do. And unless the ability explicitly uses the literal word target, the ability does not target and therefore doesn't care about hexproof or protection in certain situations and stuff
And so
Stuff
you
like
keep
the-
those soldiers from the Hero Blade Hold.
Stuff like the illusion set type. Oh yeah.
She turned her sideways a couple times, and you have like 6 1/1s.
And Paul's got. Was that Paul?
Well, I was just saying, I mean, in general, anything that, like a wrath, anything that affects everything, if it says, like, if it's affecting everything, it generally will not be targeted.
Yeah, exactly. So
Like, a wrath won't actually kill phantasmal creatures from the target.
from the ability, they will still kill them, but it won't be because of the
It won't
ability.
because they excuse me. It won't be because they were targeted.
Well,
So
there we
anyhow,
go.
closing out my top end,
Oh.
Mull Drifter, which
Mhm.
I put in. It's a little slow, but
You never
you can
feel
see from the curve of my deck, it's mostly like 3 is where it comes out.
you never feel as good as you do getting a 2/2 flyer and drawing 2 cards
Yeah.
for 5 mana.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, this is fine. It's not the fastest card, but I have lots of other fast cards, and it also gets me more gas.
I think I need one.
Very
of those.
good. Very good.
Oh, for the
Maybe,
for
but
the
I
Cubelet,
may only want to have one creature with Evoke in it.
which is currently the
Shriekmaw.
Shriekmaw.
Oh.
The correct one.
A Frost Titan.
Oh.
I love that card. Oh, he's my best. He's my boyfriend. And then a Vengeful Archon.
Oh, Vengeful Archon.
I mean, just for, sometimes you just need beef, right?
Straight beef.
And then my spells were, my phone. 1 second. Ah, no. I'm trying to turn the sideways lock on. Oh, the
Here,
side
I can
lock.
just read it sideways.
Yes, please.
So you have that looks like old school original Swords to Plowshares.
It
Yarp.
is. Swords to Plowshares did a lot of work for me in this game.
Well, it is
'Cause
the
you only-
best removal spell ever printed.
You only have to leave up 1 white, which is super good. And people aren't necessarily expecting removal into a single white, although they should be.
Speaking of only leaving up 1 white for removal, Condemn.
Yeah,
Mhm.
also real good, real good. I think Condemn is what I took over the Bone Horde the second time, because Condemn's really good.
Alex, you know what goes really well in an aggressive deck?
I don't know.
Dun, 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 trusty machete.
Which actually I barely saw,
Gonna
which
slice
was
you up.
annoying. But I was like, oh, this is going to be so good.
Trusty machete is really good. Like, it's really good. I remember
just-
seeing people pick
Well,
that.
it's not Bone Splitter, but holy
I
crap.
remember seeing people pick Trusty
That's
Machete super highly in Zendikar block.
Honestly, it's very good. And like when you're playing like a smaller creature deck, it like allows you to keep pace with more sort of mid-rangey.
You got an Azorius
Thing.
Charm.
Yep, that was super useful. Just sort of like,
In what mode of Azorius Charm did you use most often? Because you can either draw a card,
I did not use
Or
that one
you can
at
give
all.
you can give your creatures lifelink,
No, I just used it to return creatures to the top of their owner's
or
libraries.
you can just grip tide something.
Yeah, it was a cheap grip tide, and it performed excellently because it's
Mhm.
instant. I grip tided a lot of things, especially after they had like say equipment put on or auras.
You got Impulse
That
Yeah.
selection.
for some Impulse. You get to look at the top 4.
Yeah, it's you look at the top 4 cards of your library, you put 1 into your hand, and
and the rest on your
the
bottom.
rest
and the rest on the bottom.
And you don't actually shuffle.
You don't shuffle, which is nice.
It got oracled. It says shuffle on the card, but you don't shuffle.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Oh,
Mhm.
I was reading the card and shuffling my library.
Well, how are you supposed to know?
Well, yeah. It's like it's a pretty big oracle text.
Yeah.
So that was good. Just because one of the times I did that, I just use it to fix my draws and to like replenish my hand. That's why it's in there. I ran that over like Mana Leak and stuff like that because I was like, oh, this deck might just run out all its beef and just need some gas. I did that and I ripped 4 lands off the top, and I was just like, I would have been so ruined if I hadn't done that. So I shipped 3 to the bottom, put 1 in my hand, but I was very happy that I did
you've
that.
got Day of Judgment, which because you mentioned you have the Wrath, and a very interesting removal spell that I am a fan of. Faith's Fetters.
Oh man, it's so good.
You did lots of work.
So Faith's Fetters is like one of the weirdest little spells. It's got flash. Does
It
have
does
flash?
not.
Okay,
No,
I'm thinking
It's
of
just
something else.
super passive.
So it's 3 and a white for a basically sort of a pacifism effect. So the creature, if it's a creature, it can't attack or block, but it's not an enchant creature. It's an enchant permanent, and it activated abilities of that permanent can't be activated.
So I could put that on a planeswalker?
You could put it on a
You can
planeswalker,
put it
I
on
could put
Maze
it
of
on...
Ith.
and
Oh, wow.
added bonus.
I don't think Maze of Ith was in there.
added bonus, you just randomly gain 4 life when it enters the battlefield.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's demoralizing.
I was like, ugh.
Fetters puts in work.
So Face Fetters put in work every single game I drew it. Like, basically, there weren't really any dead cards in this deck, and I was very pleased with how it turned out.
Seems awesome.
Just a quick thing about Impulse. So the errata is that you don't shuffle your library, which makes sense because you put one on you put them on. It actually specifies that you put them on the bottom
Yeah.
in any order. You choose the order, which doesn't make any sense if you then have to shuffle.
Yeah, like,
but apparently that was actually like a miscommunication in the templating process.
So it was supposed to be the way it is now.
Yeah, which is why they errated it.
Huh.
And the other ruling on this one is this is not a draw. So it's
Yeah,
not
you
considered a draw,
hand.
You put it into your hand.
which means so it doesn't.
This is
you
what we're
don't-
talking
you don't
about.
Lose the game from doing this one.
This is what we were talking about with targeting. There are certain things that check if you draw a card. Like for example, Spirit of the Labyrinth in Born of the Gods means that you can only draw one card a turn, right? But
I could still use Impulse because I'm not drawing a card.
yeah,
on
because unless the text explicitly says draw the card, you're not drawing the card.
yeah, so
Which is
anything
why
like-
it's the difference. It's the difference between drawing a card and putting a card in your hands. It's the difference between damage and life loss, and
because there is a
or
difference.
casting and putting into play.
or casting and putting into play. By and large, those have the same end result, but there's a lot of cards that matter one way or another. So you just gotta read them.
Well, like Impulse can't kill you
Yeah.
if you have an empty deck.
Although, so anyhow, that is. I hope that gives you a
Little
selection of the
taste
kind
of
of the
James's
cards in
cube.
that cube, and
Spicy.
real good cards.
And this was just an evening for you and 5 other people, and just gotta.
We made some drinks. We made some rum and pineapple punch.
This is why people love to cube draft. It's just like
just hang out.
you just
Well, it didn't cost us anything.
just have a scrap.
We had some snacks.
you pick up your first
and some
pack.
drinks. It was really nice.
Playing cube is crazy because you pick up your first pack and just like these are all first picks, or at least like these are like half of these are bonkers first picks.
Yeah, I know.
In a world where
But see,
every
that's
card
why-
is a first pick.
But see, that's
Yeah.
why I made my first pick the Core Skyfisher, because I was like, okay, this is not the most amazing card in this pack. Like, if I had seen like a Frost Titan, I probably would have first picked that. But I was like, this is not the most amazing card in this pack, but I'm sure I can abuse this for value later in the draft. Right? I got to bounce Kitchen Finks to my hand.
Ugh.
So I got to remove the persist counter, and I got more life, right? So I got like 6 life off those Kitchen Finks that game. It's just a really good card. I really like Core Skyfisher.
Mhm.
A lot. All right. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Journey Into Nyx now, because as I mentioned, the full set has been spoiled,
Huzzah.
and there's some pretty cool cards. So like now we're getting into they've spoiled all the splashy mythics and rares and a bunch of cool stuff, but now you get to see all the meat and potatoes of the limited environment, which is all the commons and uncommons. And there's some stuff that I just love here. Alex, I want to tell you about this one. It's called Spiteful Blow.
Okay.
4 black, destroy target creature,
Right.
and target land. Because you get
because screw
punched.
you.
No, you get it's the art is Phoenix's fist just punching someone, and he's hitting him so hard that he's destroying the earth.
Wow.
But you know what, though? That's like a strict upgrade over Sip of Hemlock, because it costs for the same, but you also get to possibly ruin their mana fixing.
Well, that's not a strict upgrade because Sip of Hemlock also does 2 damage to them. So depending on the
I always forget
situation,
about that.
I know. Depending on the situation you're in, or I'm sorry, they lose 2 life.
That's true.
Yes. Black.
So,
I always forget that Sip makes you lose 2 life,
Black
because I'm always
cards-
just like destroy the creature.
Black cards tend to do life loss rather than.
Yeah, there's a card that I've always been a fan of that they functionally reprinted with Brain Maggot,
No.
because that is essentially mesmeric themed.
Yeah,
Only it's an enchantment creature now.
Yeah,
I didn't like that card.
because of Wrath
Well,
of Khan flashbacks.
No, I'm not sure how good it is. Alex, can you say why I've always been a fan of this
It's
card?
really good. I mean, it's like
Brain maggot.
Brain
No,
Maggot.
oh
yeah,
no,
it's not out yet.
it's a functional reprint,
But
Paul,
it's-
of Mesmeric.
Well, it's like Tide Hollow Sculler is good, and it's an easier to cast Tide Holostellar. It basically,
But it's
like,
also a duress for one more. But
it's,
you get a 1/1.
it's a Thoughtseize for one more. It's any card, and it puts it on layaway.
Not any card.
Oh, did they change that?
Non-land.
Oh no, yeah, that's
Okay.
well, okay. It doesn't hit land, but neither does Thoughtseize.
No.
All right.
Like Thoughtseize doesn't hit land, but it's like any
don't
card
think so? I don't know.
that
So-
isn't a land.
Anyway, but it's the same, Paul. Just to confirm, it's the same as Mesmeric Fiend, right? Brain Maggot enters the battlefield. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it. Exile that card until Brain Maggot leaves the battlefield. This also has the new quote fixed templating
Yeah.
for exiling mechanics, which is that the exile and return from exile things are the same ability, so you can't do the shenanigans
You can't
with
blink it and
blinking in
have it go
response.
away forever.
Which, by the way, they are printing also in Journey Into Nyx. They're printing Banishing Light, which is a fixed Oblivion Ring with the same templating. Which, you know what, this is kind of entertaining, and I got absolutely ruined by this during one of the Innistrad pre-releases. So we'll tell you about this if you're not aware of this particular trick. So previously, cards like this. Let's look at Banisher Priest and Fiend Hunter. So Banisher Priest was printed in M14. And it's 1 white for a 2/2, and it says when Banisher Priest enters the battlefield, you exile target creature and opponent controls until Banisher Priest leaves the battlefield. At which
So-
point they get it back.
So
And
if your
it's-
Banisher Priest dies or they kill it with removal, your dude comes back.
And that is all one ability. Whereas you look at Fiend Hunter, which is 1 white for a 1/3, it says when Fiend Hunter enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls. Full stop. When Fiend Hunter leaves the battlefield, return that creature to the battlefield. So those are two separate abilities. And what that means is Fiend Hunter was printed in the same block as Saving Grasp, which was a single blue to return a creature you control to its owner's hand, and flashback for a single white. And what you could do is you could cast the Fiend Hunter, put the exile your opponent's creature ability on the stack.
Yeah, you hold priority, right?
Then you bounce your own Fiend Hunter to your hand. So the way that the stack goes is you've returned the Fiend Hunter to your hand. The Fiend Hunter leaving the battlefield ability goes on the stack, but it hasn't exiled anything, so nothing happens. Then the Fiend Hunter entering the battlefield ability resolves, exiling their creature forever. It's just gone, and you have your card back in your hand. And because Saving Grasp had flashback, you could then do it again.
Don't do that at a friendly game of Magic.
So it's
Don't do that at a friend's house.
It's an amazing trick. It's really sneaky. I think it's
It's the
fun
same-
to sort of next level people like that. But boy, I was not happy at the pre-release when actually our friend Alistair, who's a judge, was
Did he
like,
do that to you?
"Oh yeah, yeah," and he was like, "I do this," and I'm like, "You do what?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do this," and I blink it, and then it goes away. And I'm like,
Judge?
"Excuse me?" Like it was one of those situations. I actually just heard Marshall talking about a situation like this when he first started playing Magic. It's one of the situations where you're like, as a new player, that sounds like bullshit. Like you are lying to me,
Yeah.
obviously. But no, that is exactly how that works.
Well, it's the same as
But-
like
It's dumb, right? Like it shouldn't work like that. It's just because those are the rules of Magic and those are two separate abilities. That's how that works because they've written it like that.
But
So
yeah,
that's
it's
okay,
like
'cause
when
they're
damage
fixing
used
those
to go on the
cards.
stack. It's like
exactly.
this doesn't actually make sense in any way. A lot of people got real salty when they rolled that back.
Well, there were
Which I
some
think
cards
is-
that actually took advantage of damage going on the stack.
Yeah.
But
It
All right.
doesn't make sense though.
Okay, so cards. I would like to talk about a couple cards. Can I see the spoiler for a second?
yeah, while you're looking, I'm going to talk quickly about Bearer of the Heavens,
What?
who's like
Oh, Atlas?
basically
Does
like
he shrug?
basically like Atlas. Well, he can. So he's a 10/10 for 8, I want to say. Yeah, I think he's 10/10 for 7 and a red. And when he dies, you destroy all other permanents. I think it is.
Oh, so when Atlas shrugs, everything gets destroyed.
Exactly. Paul's going to be able to correct me in a moment.
Well-
He's the guy holding the disc right there. What's that say?
When he dies, destroy all permanents at the beginning of the next end step.
Yes.
It's kind of interesting.
Oh, it's because it's falling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, crap.
Oh.
So, if you're able to pull off the following at a pre-release, props to you. You need, for this, you need Bearer of the Heavens in play, and you need a creature in your graveyard. And you cast Rescue from the Underworld.
Oh no! Oh no! 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 No!
The end of your opponent's main phase, not their end step, at the end of their main phase, sacrifice Bearer of the Underworld to go get something back out of your bin. End step happens. Everything gets destroyed. Your upkeep, that creature and Bearer of the Heavens come back, and you have a 10.
Blurp.
You have to cast the Bearer of the Heavens first.
I'm not saying it's likely.
It's the dream, Kathleen. It doesn't have to.
That's true. I was
make
just talking about
sense.
living the dream with the core skyfishing stuff.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about. I think blue looks really good.
Oh, yeah.
I think blue looks really powerful. I'm not the best person at evaluating a set, but blue does things that I like, so I'm automatically drawn to it. Black has a lot of removal.
Drawn.
Well,
You're automatically put into your hand to it.
I do
sorry.
like drawing cards. But I want to talk about an uncommon, Hour of Need. It's an instant for 2 and a blue, and it has Strive, so it costs 1 and a blue more to cast for each target beyond the first. Exile any number of target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller puts a blue 4/4 Sphinx creature token with flying onto the battlefield. That is
What?
disgustingly good. That turns all your stupid outclassed weenies into 4/4 flyers at instant speed. You could wreck someone. You could easily cast that for 5 ingot and turn a couple of bears, like irrelevant bears late game, into huge beaters. I love this card.
Can you imagine how
I
good
need to play this card.
how good it's going to feel when your opponent casts a removal spell on some utility creature or something that they need to get out of the way, and you just go, it's a 4/4 Sphinx now.
And you lost a card?
And your removal spell fizzles.
Oh, because it's cheap. You can do it early. I love it. I love this card. And this is what I think is going to be very interesting against Voltron magic.
I love this.
Okay. Hubris. 1 and a blue. Instant. Return target creature and all auras attached to their owner's hand. It's common.
What I love is that we made a joke about hubris in the Heroes Path videos for Born of the Gods with no prior knowledge that this card was coming. I just love that we have that line in there now. Like, do you know the word hubris and why it's relevant for flavor reasons for this block? Meaning that this character, the Oracle of Theros, actually knew
Actually was doing Oracle stuff and predicting the future.
completely by accident.
Go us. But, I feel that this is going to really change, this is going to be floating around at common. And obviously we're only going to have 1 pack of this in draft, but I don't think it's unreasonable that you could pick 1 or 2 of these up. Maybe unreasonable to pick 2, but 1?
Yeah, 1 you could get.
I'm gonna freaking, if I draft, I'm gonna, freaking windmill slam this thing.
Throwing elbows to the people on left and right of you.
It's like, give me a hubris!
So, I want to ask you something, Alex.
Yo.
What do you think about this? Because you run Mono Black in Commander, or in Highlander.
Yarp.
What do you think about this guy? Blood Crazed Hoplite.
What?
So he's a 2/1 for 1 and a black.
Okay.
Black Piker. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
With Heroic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Blood Crazed Hoplite, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. Seems pretty good. The +1/+1 counter Heroic seems pretty sweet to me. But this is interesting.
Oh, there's more.
There is more. And I don't actually know how good this will be. I certainly don't know how good it'll be in this environment. I feel like it'll be pretty good in this limited environment.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond this, I don't know. Whenever a +1/+1 counter is placed on Blood Crazed Hoplite, remove a +1/+1 counter from target creature and opponent controls.
All right. Yeah, that sounds really relevant in this format because you have all these heroic guys. I personally wouldn't play that guy because there's not that many, or in Highlander, combat tricks are really, really sketchy.
Yeah.
Because you can't play a significant density of them to make them really good. I really wanted a heroic deck to be a thing in Highlander, but there's just not enough cards to support it.
That's a shame.
So, maybe that'll change once the rest of this set is out, because that would be super sweet.
What about your new, just because we make a joke about it actually in Friday nights, what about the new 2-power 1-drop?
Is there one?
Yeah,
the black one.
Yeah, gnarled Scarhide.
I think we mention it last time because I didn't realize that you can.
Oh yeah, I remember. I blew your mind.
You cast it on your opponent's creature and they can't block. I was like, oh, possibly relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So Kathleen was pointing out this sweet looking card. Hey, remember Serendibifreed?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was he again?
2 and a blue
For a
3/4
for
flyer.
a 3/4 flyer.
Okay. How about that?
Uh,
It's an enchantment creature, Chimera, Riptide Chimera, 2 and a blue for a 3/4 flyer. Here's the, quote, downside.
okay.
At the beginning of your upkeep, return an enchantment you control to its owner's hand.
Oh, you know what this is just like? This is that guy in Modern Masters draft. There's an artifact creature that's
Esperzoa.
almost it's the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, the Esperzoa.
Yeah.
Except in the right deck, Esperzoa's return an artifact ability is not really a drawback.
Exactly.
And in this instance, I don't think this is that much of a drawback. It certainly could be. If it's your only enchantment, then you're just bouncing it every turn.
This guy's a double shark.
He's also a double shark, so there is that.
Because he counts as an enchantment.
That's not nothing. Yeah, so you may be in a position where you have to return him, but there's so many there's so many enchantments in this particular set. There is so many.
Well, and like all of the things from Theros, little enchantment. What are they I'm trying to think of any one of them.
The Eidolons?
Not the Eidolons.
Any of the bestow creatures?
A bestow creature that's
like
fallen off something.
The nymphs. Yeah, you could pick up a bestow that's fallen off. You could pick up a debuffing aura and put it on a different creature. You could pick up a buffing aura off one of your own creatures and then play it again for more
the
heroic.
The enchantments where you tap and you get a +1/+1 kind of thing. Are those enchantments?
The ordeals.
The ordeals. Are they enchantments?
Yeah, they are, but then you don't get it to pop.
But
because you sacrifice it once you get 3 of them.
Yes, but then you could move it and replay it because they're cheap. Put it on a different thing. That thing starts getting counters.
True, that's true.
I like the flavor text here, by the way.
You're not getting the advantage, but then you're getting another heroic. You're recycling a heroic trigger.
True.
You're putting more counters on a guy. There are situations where, yeah, sure, you don't get the upside from an ordeal, but you certainly get to use it twice.
Yeah, the flavor text is a quote from Kiora just saying, I want one.
I want one. I like that guy a lot.
Speaking of cards that I want one, Scry Piker.
Oh, yes.
Striker.
It's so, okay.
The sigiled skink.
This is not a terribly complex or maybe even interesting card, but I think it's super sweet.
It's great.
It's 1 and a red for a 2/1. Whenever it attacks, scry 1.
That's fantastic.
Red never gets to scry, especially not in a way that's useful.
Well,
yeah, I know. Red's usually
Red's been able to scry a lot through this block.
Okay, well, a little bit.
Prior to now, it was like Magma Jet and Riddle of Lightning.
Nobody plays Riddle of Lightning, which they reprinted, by the way.
In this set.
Which is a really weird card, by the way. I think the last time Riddle of Lightning showed up was Time Spiral?
Probably.
Or maybe Planar Chaos, one of those.
So we call this a piker. Why do we real quick, why do we do that?
Because Goblin Piker is a 1 and a red for a 2/1 goblin.
Yeah. And that's so now
in the same way that a bear
2/2 for 1 and a colored mana is a bear. A 2/1 for 1 and a colored mana is a piker.
Yep.
So there you go. And quick, what is a 1/2 for 1 and a colored mana?
Squire?
A squire. Because of the card Squire.
Ooh, and 2 and a colored mana is a gray ogre.
Yes. For a 2/2 specifically.
Yep.
And what's Hill Giant again?
3/3 for 4.
3/3 for 4?
Like a colored mana and 3 usually.
Right.
And you get
a lot of these are just callbacks to Alpha.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is,
well, that's where the language of Magic started.
Are you ever not happy just playing a gray ogre? Usually I'm like, fine, I'll play a 3/3 for 4. It's good. It's fair. Brian Wong talks a lot about just going mono fair, and it does him well. And sometimes just
speaking
decent
of a
creatures
totally
that do
fair
good
card,
stuff.
there's a card that I've really enjoyed a lot in the sets that's been being reprinted here. Blade Tusk Boar. 3/2 Intimidate for 4. He was printed in core sets for a few years there. He's really good.
Yeah.
Also, so I was drafting Shards of Alara on stream the other day for the first time ever. Ended up 2-1 with some close matches in the finals. Maybe not the closest matches, but considering I never drafted it before, I felt pretty good about 2-1. I was just trying to jund him out. Just jund him. And at one point I was trying to figure out I definitely had my opponent dead on the board, but he had a single red mana up. Now, I assuredly had him extra super dead if I cast Slave of Bolas on his one blocker. But he hadn't conceded, and I had a 4 power, I had a 4 toughness creature and a 2 toughness creature. And I'm like, if I just attack, he can only block one of them. My opponent's at 2. He's dead on board, but he has 1 red mana. What could he have? Because I don't know the set. And the chat was like, well, he could have Magma Spray. And if he has Magma Spray, you lose.
That only targets creatures.
Yeah, because he can kill my 2 toughness creature,
Oh,
block my 4 toughness creature, and then kill me on the backswing.
I see.
So I was humming and hawing because it was game 1. I was like, do I show him Slave of Bolas or not? As it turns out, the chat was like, well, the person you're playing against is a fan who was watching the draft, so he knows you have Slave of Bolas. So I was like, oh yeah, well, let's just do that. Anyway, point is, I have no idea if he had Magma Spray or not, but it's a card I'd never heard of because I didn't really play Shards of Alara very much.
But it's back.
They're reprinting it. So Magma Spray is an instant for a single red. It deals 2 damage to target creature only. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead.
It's a faster Pillar of Flame. So
Pillar of
you
Flame.
Can't dome with.
Yeah, because Pillar of Flame is a sorcery, but can also hit players.
Yep.
Okay.
I believe
I
that's.
believe it can hit players. I could be wrong. Anyway, the point being, that seems actually really good in this. I could be wrong, but that seems
Magma
pretty
Spray has
sweet.
always been like pretty decent. I think there's some blocks that it was really excellent in because persist or like undying stuff. It's really good. Just creatures you want to go away forever.
Can I just briefly talk about how much I love Pensive Minotaur?
What?
He's a 2/3 for 3. That's it. But just look at that art. He's like halfway through eating some dude's leg, and he's like,
It's just like, is there more to life than this?
Should I cook my food before I eat it?
is this what I want to be doing?
Yeah.
Just eating guy leg? What's up, Paul?
I was going to say, this is definitely my favorite card so far. Polymorphous Rush.
Oh yeah. So
It's
That
for
sounds like mass polymorph.
kinda.
2 and 1 blue, and has Strive, which for 1 and a blue. And choose a creature on the battlefield. Any number of target creatures you control each become a copy of that creature until end of turn.
Wow.
At instant speed.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So it's like, all my little dudes that attack you, yeah, they're now all Bearer of Heaven. They're now all 10/10.
There's some commons here that I could see being pretty cool in draft. I dig the Grim Guardian. Not only does he look absolutely badass, he's a 1/4 for 2 and a black. So he's a
so lousy.
he's a horn turtle.
So lousy.
Except for a different camera casting cost. He is very much. Constellation, whenever Grim Guardian or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. Now, ordinarily, you're not going to have a huge amount of enchantments, but in this set, so many of your creatures are enchantments as well. I could see this guy just randomly doming for 5 over the course of a game.
Just chisel,
Right?
chisel.
Like you get 1 off of him.
Exactly. It's just building slow, long-term advantage.
Mm-hmm. There's so many creatures that are also enchantments.
Oh my god, that and the Chimera? Just to recycle your enchantments? Yeah, I love the dream! Alright.
Blue-black drainer knot.
Wow.
Wow.
I want to go to there.
So, I guess the takeaway is that I'm pretty excited for this.
Journey Into Nyx looks so much better than Born of the Gods, which I was not super excited to draft. By the end of this block, I was like,
I was super excited to draft beforehand. Then I wasn't once I started playing it, just because
it was hard to get a handle on. It was like,
really hard to get through that.
and the
first
thing
pack.
is, it just. Like
I mean, we talked about that a couple episodes ago, but
the card seemed less good than the cards in Theros, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with some exceptions, like Mono Green Devotion became a thing, which was nice. But anyhow,
is there any keyword that isn't in from this block that isn't in this set?
No.
Like, there's a couple guys with Monstrosity. There's somebody with Inspired. I think they were showing. I think they're all showing up. I'm could be wrong.
I think they are too. We should talk about Alex's Cubelet.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's the next thing we were going to talk about. So, Alex.
Hi.
So we talked about your Cubelet, or the mass.
Mass cube.
And reaction has been really, really positive.
I was actually kind of surprised because I looked at the document a couple times because I shared it as a public Google spreadsheet,
which is linked from the YouTube description.
Yeah, and there's
forum
like
post.
there's like half a dozen people viewing it when I edited it.
Yeah, because it's a fun. I don't want to say simple, but a straightforward way to just be like, hey, you want to play Magic real quick? Yeah. All right, sweet. Boom. Right? You don't have to be like, oh, I don't have my deck, or my deck isn't ready.
Or, all right, let's find some land.
Yeah, or like, well, there's only two of us. We can't like draft or anything, or I only have modern, I have standard. We're playing these weird decks against one another. We don't have enough people for a fun game of Commander. It's just like,
the
let's
start
just sit.
to playing game ratio is very, very low.
Which is so good.
It's just like perfect for like a quick pickup, and you can, even if you're in the middle of a game state and you're just like, I gotta throw it together and leave.
So when we recorded that episode,
was it
practically
third draft?
You just put this together.
Yeah, I started with literally random ass cards that were around, and I've been curating ever since, adding some stuff.
So what are some of the changes that you've made through the playing that you've been doing?
Let me see. I have a couple of them on top here. I think I cut Funeral Charm for Dark Blast because I wanted a dredge card. I want to get as many mechanics
just as
single cards in the cube as possible.
Sweet.
So I wanted to try out Dark Blast because this is a card that I think it gets played at sideboard a lot in some legacy format or some legacy decks. I'm not sure which decks exactly, but it's 1 black for an instant. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn.
All right.
It's like, okay,
Whatever.
It's a kind of dirtily removal spell, except it has Dredge 3. So anytime you would draw a card, you may instead mill yourself 3 and put this into your hand.
Which is interesting because you have a shared library, but not shared graveyards.
So, yeah, it's repeatable removal. There's a lot of X1s in this pile, so it's just like...
If you have a Reanimator card in your hand, what sort of Reanimator do you have in this deck? I know you have Necromancy.
I have Necromancy. Another card I added.
But I'm just, sorry, real quick, I'm just thinking, because there's a lot of really strong creatures in this deck, and if you have that, you could just be like, I'm just going to dredge and just see if I can mill myself into a good creature.
Well, it would combo well with Karmic Guide.
Oh.
Because I wanted a 5-drop in white. I had Cloud Goat Ranger in this slot originally, but I put in Siege Gang Commander.
Right.
And I figured they're very similar creatures, and I like Siege Gang Commander better.
That's fair.
So I wanted a 5-drop that wasn't something like dumb powerful like
Baneslayer
or Archangel of Thune or something like that. So I was like, I know, Karmic Guide. I don't have any cards of Echo in the cube. And this is like a weird card. It's also cheap now because they reprinted it in
Commander 2013
with new art. It looks super cool. This one
does look super cool.
is 3 white for a 2/2 flyer with protection from black with Echo, which means that at the beginning of your upkeep, if this came under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay its Echo cost.
So you have to pay 5, and then your next turn you pay 5 again.
Yeah.
Or you choose not to, but it dies.
Yeah. And when it enters the battlefield, you reanimate a creature. You just pick a creature from your graveyard, put it into play.
Jeez.
So you can just get value. Maybe you chump with this thing, and then you don't even need to pay Echo sometimes. So
yeah.
I wonder if it has protection from black, not because they wanted it to have protection from black on the battlefield, but because they wanted it to not be easily reanimated.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't even think about that.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, it still has pro-black when it's in the bin, right?
I don't know if it does.
I don't know either.
Judge.
But
Surge.
You know what this combos well with?
Oh my god.
Restoration Angel. This card's just good and fun and super sweet. There's so many Ender's Play cards in this deck.
If you blink it, do you not have to pay Echo?
No, I think it still checks when it came into play. But you still get value. I think it depends on when you blink it.
Restoration Angel. So, but, like, upkeep. Echo ability goes in the stack.
Mm-hmm.
You blink Resto Angel in response. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this came under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay a sacrifice.
Yeah, so next upkeep, you would have to pay Echo on it, I think. But still, it's
I think I heard
value.
someone blinking stuff so to avoid Echo.
It's probably
Someone in the comments will
yeah,
figure
if
we'll-
you're a
we'll tell us.
judge, let us know because
or
I'm
if
not
you
sure.
just know, because
Yeah,
you probably just know.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that shakes out.
Oh, that card is. Why have I never heard of this card?
Fire Covenant?
This is how I
think I
won.
added that recently.
I won a game against Alex with this
Man.
stupid thing.
Just like these are the weirdo cards I'm always mining for. Like I found this on a German Highlander list. I was like, sorry, what?
It's insane. It's a black, and a red for an instant. Fire Covenant deals X damage divided any way you choose among any number of target creatures, where X is equal to the amount of life you pay.
Yup.
X effects that prevent a redirect can't be used to counter this loss
Just
of
like,
life.
how
So
would
I
you
drew
like...
this and I was like, I pay 7 life,
and
kill
like
3
4 for 1 me.
kill 3 of your creatures and swing for lethal. And Alex was like, "Oh, yeah." Like, this card's insane.
Wow.
You should put this in your Vampire Commander deck.
I should.
It's quite
Although
good.
I'm gonna have to retool that thing. It doesn't quite work how I want.
Yeah,
it
like
to.
this is
I have some plans.
a pretty good example of just like interesting, powerful cards that I want to put in here. And some of these might get tooled up or down to sort of like bring them in line with that stuff, because there's some cards that are a little too one-dimensional because they're just really good. Like I've got a Vampire Nighthawk in here, and like he's really good, but it's just like a creature with a shit ton of like keyword abilities at the same time. So he's like a mini Baneslayer, so maybe he's fine, but
I think he's fine.
He's not huge.
Yeah, he's not like
He's
crazy
real good though.
It's
He's
like I ended up cutting Wolfear Silverheart from this deck, I think, because it was too powerful.
It's pretty powerful.
because it's
like,
it's
I don't
+4/+4 when it comes
puts
in.
12 power on the board for 5 mana, and
It's
like
really strong.
4 of it has haste.
Yeah. Oh.
It's, ugh.
What's up, Paul?
Sorry, I was just looking up the general consensus on Echo plus Blink is that it just delays it by a turn.
Okay.
So if you have something that can blink at every turn, you can delay it indefinitely. But it does because the card that
You're gonna get taken to collections eventually.
because when a card blinks, when it comes back, the Echo cost is still in the stack, but the card that gets sacrificed when you don't pay the Echo cost is no longer around because
Right.
the thing that came back is considered a new card.
Right.
Mhm.
So you just are delaying it by one.
Does that mean if you blink an Echo creature, you can force someone to pay it again?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So if you
Awkward.
have something that blinks other people's guys, they have to keep paying their Echo cost.
Although most of the
Filthy.
time,
Mhm.
Echo creatures
Delicious.
have a pretty good Ender's Play effect.
Yeah.
At least the ones that are worth playing.
Like that one.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Anyway.
So,
a
Alex,
fun format you can throw together.
you are gonna keep tinkering with this
Mhm.
Cubelet, and
And I'm super
keep
glad
us
that
updated.
I'm super glad that people enjoy it. And I encourage people to build their own cubelets to their own specifications. And you can you don't need to follow this list at all. Like you can do anything
whatever
you
you
want.
want.
Like
Yeah,
somebody was
somebody
talking about
Yeah, someone was asking Alex and I on Twitter if it was okay to build a cubelet out of just Theros block cards, sort of like if they were allowed to, or
Of
something.
course you
It's-
are.
And it's you could
it's a
you
format I made up.
you could do whatever you want, right?
It's yours.
I mean,
do what
even
you
if
like.
even if for whatever insane reason, even if we were like, no, you're
You're
still
not allowed.
could. You still could. It's not like
We forbid you from
Yeah.
making a Theros cube.
So yeah, like if you've cracked a bunch of Theros cards and you have a bunch lying around, just like slam 100 of them into some sleeves and play with that. And
Yeah, it's just
I bet you, like as long as you don't have like 5 insane bonkers cards in there, I bet you just like 100 cards from Theros block would be a pretty even power level. It'd be like playing Pauper or something. Like you'd still have rares and uncommons in there, but I imagine overall it would be perfectly
so Alex,
reasonable.
If somebody did, you talk about your kind of tinkering and like looking at like sort of I replace this card with this card. What do you think if somebody wanted to build a cubelet, or they're like just to get a better idea on your philosophy? What are you looking for in a card? Like obviously you don't want it to be massively OP.
Yeah.
But is there like a basic power level or like?
Yeah, like it's like a card. I generally pick cards that are like this is a good card. I use primarily like Highlander playables, which are cards that like they're usually either in legacy lists or like the cards that just barely don't make it into legacy lists because that's the sort of like power level you're looking at. And then I will usually pick a more interesting card over a more powerful card.
I think so.
So
I think,
what do
I
you
think
mean
that's
by a
the
more
fun.
interesting card?
Well, it's like
Like, do you have a direct comparison in here of one that you?
I'm trying to think. Well,
Right.
I mean, like the Karmic Guide is a good example because it's like in 5-drop white I could have Baneslayer, but I put in Karmic Guide because it's more goofy. It's like no. Here's a great example.
Yeah.
It's like 1 and a green. I could play Tarmogoyf, but A, it's $200,
Yeah.
and B, it's dull as dishwater. It's just like this big beater. Why not play Skin Shifter and have way more fun with it? Because I actually really love this card.
Skin Shifter's awesome.
It's also like more flexible than Tarmogoyf.
So he's a 1/1 for 1 and a green, and for a single green, you can
Transform.
once a turn you can transform him into either a 4/4 Rhino with Trample, a 2/2 Bird with Flying, or a 0/8 Plant Wall.
Oh, he's a druid.
Exactly. He's a shapeshifter.
Yep.
He's great.
He's literally a D&D druid.
Yeah, and it's like I could be playing Geist of St. Traff, but again, it's just like this massive beater.
Yeah.
It's like crazy powerful. Or I could play Azorius Guildmage.
The one
or
with
there's
activated ability Stifle.
It's so good. There's one other, it's like I've got in the 3-drop slot for Azorius. What's the 3/1 that arrests when it comes into play? I don't remember the name of it.
Oh, it's from...
Oh, the bird.
Race to it. You've got it.
Why don't I remember the name of this card? Liev Sky Knight.
That's the one. Yeah, no, like that's super cool.
Yeah.
Because it's like this sweet tempo play.
You got a
sometimes-
3/1 flyer.
And I mean, like otherworldly journey. This card's so sweet because it's a blink effect, but you can target any creature, not just your own.
Mm-hmm.
So if they mind control you, you're like, I'll just be taking that back at the end of turn.
So good.
That's
So,
pretty cool.
Basically, you're looking for cards that do things rather than get big.
Yeah, and it's also just like sort of a place where you can put all those cards that like you really wanted to play in a deck, but they just got edged out by, something really,
A little
really
bit more
good. And
efficient.
you're just like, oh, I really want to play you, but you're
I'm
just not
seriously
as
gonna-
good as card XYZ.
I'm seriously going to go through just my pile of random
Mhm.
junk rares and just throw something together.
And then you still get cards that are just like amazing because they're also interesting. It's like Bloodbraid Elf. It's like because you're cascading into something weird, like Stormblood Berserker. That's a bit of a non-po, but hey, law of variances. Maybe you get Harm's Way. That's a fun card. You want to screw up some combat math? Throw a Harm's Way in there.
All right.
So,
have fun, basically, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, the objective is fun. One or two other things quickly is there are no search effects because it keeps the game going quickly. I'm thinking of starting to curtail out a lot of the filter effects
mhm.
because like Ponder's in here, but it takes twice as long to resolve because you have to think about what your opponent's going to draw.
Oh, right.
Like
yeah.
I actually downgraded. I had Drown in Sorrow,
Oh, yeah.
which is all creatures get -2/-2, scry 1.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this infest because it means you get to cast it and get through it faster.
Rather than the scry.
Otherwise,
it's
like, do I want them to draw this or do I
or
ship
do I want
it?
them to just draw random? Yeah.
So
Weird. All right.
the point is
Also,
fun.
fixing your opponent's draws seems mean, right?
So yeah, let us know how your cubelets turn out because I know that a bunch of you are making them.
And if you want to put together a full cube, go for that cube list.
Yeah, this is
Because-
also like the perfect base for a full cube because you
Mhm.
just add more cards and maybe eventually lands and then you just cube with that. That's sweet.
So, yeah, and as always, hit us up on Twitter at LRRMTG
Yep.
to let us know if you'd like us to talk about anything specific on future shows, and LoadingReadyRun.com for all of our other stuff, including Friday nights. Because sometimes it can get a little lost on the Wizards YouTube page, but we will link to it from there, so don't forget about that. And yeah, thank you guys all very much for listening.
Bye, everybody.
We'll talk to you next time.